life story is that we met when I was 19 and he was 21 at Grinnell College in Grinnell, Iowa. So the first time we met, Scott came and introduced me and said, you know what? I'm going to India for 1 year, or I'm going in a study abroad program for 1 year. So I was very intrigued, and I thought, oh my gosh, here's a young man, 21 years old, from a small town in Oregon who's never stepped out of the country, and he is going to India for an adventure. And so I was very intrigued, and we kept in touch throughout the time that he was there in India, and through all our letters at that point, because we didn't have emails and texts. And I could see that he was a success and in living with an Indian family and studying at an Indian institute with an anthropology major. So he came back, and we decided to pursue our graduate studies and finish that. And while we were doing that, Scott proposed to me. He proposed to my parents, and he proposed to my grandfather. That was very sweet, 'cause that was showing how endearing he was to my grandfather and respectful to him and to my family. So we were all excited, and since my father was in the Bangladesh Foreign Service and we weren't stationed here, my brother, who's here from Connecticut, and my sister-in-law from New Jersey, took over and did all the preparations for our wedding, for Scott and my wedding, at the Yale campus where my brother was studying Shah. And we had a beautiful wedding there, followed by a beautiful reception in Oregon by my in-laws. And then after that, we went to Bangladesh to have a big grand reception of 1,500 guests. So it was quite something for us to, be present in, and we really enjoyed. So after our reception, we went straight to Sundarbans in the Bay of Bengal to try to see if we could catch a glimpse of a Royal Bengal tiger. And they were too sneaky, and so we never were able to actually see a Bengal tiger, but we did hear from the villagers that the night before, a tiger had attacked someone, and be careful, and just be wary that you have to be careful. So that was an exciting trip with my brother, my mom, and Scott and I. Next, we came back to the U.S., and we had two beautiful twin girls, Maya and Tara, and we were just elated to be and have such wonderful young ladies now who have their own families. And this Maya is married to Andrew. Oh, where is Andrew? Oh, it's taken out. and Tara, just newly married to Alex. And there they are right there, the new couple. And we're really pleased to have everyone here. And then, of course, Maya and Andrew had Adam right there, our little grandson. He's almost 4. What's your name? Yes, you're Adam. That's right. Good job. Okay, you're big. And Arya, who's almost 2 years old, she's just gone out with that. Oh, Arya's 1, sorry. You're right, Arya's 1 years old. Next, we're going to have this little video clip that Sherry had done at the hospital of Scott, because Scott was not able to be at the wedding. So here comes his sense of humor that you'll see, and this is Scotty as you know him.
Welcome, everyone. We're so happy that you could be with us today. As you know, Shazia and I cherish Maya and Tara tremendously. They're incredible people, and this day for Tara is a special day for us and for all of us, but also a change in that next step of life for her and for Alex. We're so happy to have Alex joining the family. And it was something that I discussed with Tara, that I don't know how fast this would progress. It's been a foot race, so that where it's left is I can attend and thank all of you and enjoy the wedding. And but I won't be able to be there with you. When Tara and I talked about it, Tara's, she knows what she likes. She told me, you're really gonna have to be there. And I said, okay, I'll be there. Cross my heart and hope to die. Now, anyone who didn't laugh at that has better straighten up right now, okay? Dark humor, light humor, it's all good stuff. And we're here to celebrate. We're not here, for anything other than for Tara and for Alex. So dark humor is going to keep coming from me, so get used to it. And once again, thank you, and I love you all.
I'm Maya. I'm sure you all know. As you all know, my dad was in the hospital for a couple weeks before he passed. One day, when I went to go visit him, the nurses wanted to see if he was able to walk around the hospital floor, since he was in his bed for a couple days. If he was able to pass this test, he would gain some independence from the nurses and have a little bit of freedom. The nurse came into the room with a walker and asked if he was ready to try. I leaned over to him and said, do you need any help? Are you okay to do this right now? He looked over at me and said, Maya, always lead with confidence. He situated himself, grabbed the handlebars of the walker, and lifted himself straight up in one motion and began to walk out the door. Once he had it in his head that he was going to do something, he did it and never looked back. And so it seems he's always been this way. As you all know, he grew up in a small town, yet set big dreams to move out and conquer the world. And that's exactly what he did. He made great friends. He did well in school. He met my mom, had us, started a beautiful family, and led a successful professional career. He led the life that most people dream of. I'm sure you all know he was always trying to impart guidance and advice to whomever would listen. Everything he said and did was very intentional. If he was telling you something, there was a reason why he was saying it. He always taught me to be optimistic but inquisitive. Always ask questions. That life is full of opportunities, but you need to make them happen. It's not going to happen for you. He taught me that life will pack you some punches, but you need to punch right back. Dad, you've made me stronger, wiser, and a better human being. I'm so appreciative of the lessons you've taught me, and I'll make sure to carry them on with me for as long as I can go. I'm missing you forever and always. We'll see you in the stars.
I am Tara, the other half. Okay. My dad was not a super emotional guy, but he always demonstrated his love for his family by always being there for us when we needed him. In high school, Dad was so proud that I made the softball team. Not only did he come for every game, he also attended every practice, rain or shine. Part of the team. He was also there for me when my car broke down on the side of the road. I only had 5% battery on my phone and had no idea at the time where I was on 66 stranded. All I knew before my phone cut out was that I was somewhere along 66 West. So he drove and drove and drove and drove until he found me. Even at the end, when he didn't have much physical capability of being there, he was there virtually for my wedding day, dressed to impress, with a big smile on his face for his little girl's day. His presence and devotion to family is unquestionable. My father was a man of a lot of words, but even more thoughts. Dad's inquisitive mind let him venture down so many paths and avenues in life, starting from his small town in Roseburg, Oregon, to the bustling streets of D.C. and Northern Virginia. One phrase of his that has always stuck with me is, "Never put up any walls, Tara." He never wanted me to limit myself in any way, mind, body, or soul. This was clearly also his mantra in life. Dad learned languages such as Russian, Marathi, and even Bangla. He read up on astrophysics and American and world history, and even taught himself how to play the guitar. He made sure his life and mine remain unlimited. I'd like to think there are some small moments in this dimension where my dad makes his presence known. Examples would be him subtly playing our father-daughter dance song, Time, from Pink Floyd, in the car radio when I was having a bad day. Or having a birthday card that I wrote to him when I was 8 dropped to the floor when I was cleaning out a closet in my parents' house. I know that my dad is no longer present with us, but knowing his inquisitive mind and soul, I picture him running around, jumping into different dimensions, exploring his new playground, and saying, "Cool."
Hi, I'm Ayla, Scott's niece. We unfortunately missed out on a lot of time because we were on the West Coast and he was over here on the East Coast. But the one thing that I remember most about spending time with him was he was just a walking encyclopedia. You couldn't make a simple comment like, "Oh my God, look at those clouds outside." And then he would go off on a tangent about, "No, those aren't just clouds. Those are specifically these types of clouds, and this is what it means, and this is the weather," and everything. He just, anything you wanted to know, he would know. So I feel like to keep that going, just learning all the different little weird facts and stuff and just passing those on to everyone so he stays within our hearts and our minds and stuff. So, miss you, Uncle Scott.
We come into this world with nothing, and we leave with nothing. And we can't take anything with us from here. What we do here is create experiences. And whatever we do while we are here is our benefit, is our positive side. Scotty, during his time, created a whole lot of benefit, a lot of positives for us that we got to share, and that's what he's left behind for us. And we truly gained a lot being with Scotty in our company. Scotty cared greatly for his family and his friends. Shazia, Tara, Maya, Andrew, Alex, Adam, Arya, Lourdes, these were people on his mind at all times. On his 60th birthday, I remember that he was happy and joyful. He mentioned Sherry, his sister, Uncle Tim, Aunt Carolyn, his friends, Dave Golden, Mike Fitch. I remember his reminiscing about them. Sedonia, Isla, Aunt Bonnie. These were the people that he talked about that time. And also my wife, Farah, Priyani, and Miraz were there in his mentions. I also remember at Tara's wedding, as you've seen here, with his kind, soft touch, brimming with good humor and a great wit, and sharp mind, how he made our time pleasant and enjoyable.
It's nice to see all of you today, and I remember watching Scotty take his first steps. That's how old I am. And I recall speaking to him just a few hours before he passed. And you know, Scott had the driest sense of humor that Shazia seldom had to put his clothes in the dryer. They dried themselves. But Scott had that inquisitive mind that God gave him, and I just loved every time I would talk to him on the phone. He would come up with some harebrained idea. I'd think to myself, "Are you kidding me? You really think that's a possibility, Scott?" Yeah, I do. I have been honored in the past. One of my longest professions has been a songwriter, and that's when I had less kids and more hair. But I have been honored in the past to have one of my songs heard by about 100 million people at one time, and that was a big honor for me. But I have a greater honor tonight because I have two new songs which are coming out on a new album, not mine, but a new group. And I'm more honored tonight to have you listen to those two songs because they're for Scott, and they're for all of you. God bless.
Now you're standing all alone in the photographs of life. Will you recall the colors or just see the black and white? Do you recall the sweetness of that first romantic kiss, or the pain you felt when it was clear just how much you'd be missed? Photographs of life, these are your photographs of life. There's no need to be sad in the photographs of life. There is no way to change the wrongs back into rights. The love that has surrounded you now carries you away. Your memories are now complete, stored in forever's place. In the photographs of life, these are your photographs of life. When the words have all been spoken and you're looking back at life, a few regrets but mostly satisfied. 'Cause the best that you can do is love and be loved, and maybe, just maybe in the end, you can smile. Now you're standing all alone in the photographs of life. There are no fears, no second thoughts, the tears are left behind. The wind is with the angels, and your life becomes sublime. And all your days and memories are resting in God's time. In the photographs of life, these are your photographs of life. When the words have all been spoken and you're looking back at life, a few regrets but mostly satisfied. 'Cause the best that you can do is love and be loved, and maybe, just maybe in the end, you can smile. Now you're standing all alone in the photographs of life. Will you recall the colors or just see the black and white? Photographs of life, these are your photographs of life. are your photographs of life.
I really enjoyed my 9 months staying with the Dunnihoos. They incorporated me into their daily lives. I was able to play big brother to Maya and Tara. My discussions with Scott were daily and endless during this time. This is when I really became familiar with the type of person he is. So technology played an important role. We learned how to hack his DVD player, put all the downloaded videos onto CDs and DVDs. At the time, we had amassed a very large and unmanageable collection of movies, which we probably never watched the majority of. We both learned how to trade stocks online together. I observed some of his traits as well. While observing how he drove and navigated through the roads of Northern Virginia, I actually became a very aggressive driver. I don't think that's a bad thing, actually. So if there was one word I could use to describe him, it would be creative. Actually, inquisitive was a good one too. As Uncle Tim mentioned, like every few days he would talk to you about something new. You know, whether it was a movie plot, usually with a sci-fi theme. He even had the actors and actresses picked out for the roles. Or we'd come up with these crazy invention ideas. It's funny, some of them actually came to become reality, believe it or not. I remember one in particular, we talked about digital clothing. So you wear it, and any given day of the week, you can change the color or the look of it. And what's funny is that a few years ago, Scott sent me an article when it was like, someone actually developed this thing. After I moved out, the Dunnihoos still remained a very close part of my life. We would all gather whenever family and friends were in town. I always enjoyed meeting Scott's family, whether it was his mother Shirley, his sister Sherry, Aunt Carolyn, or others. They're just such down-to-earth people. I always felt at ease in their presence. Similarly, when my closest friends, the Serene family, met Scott during a fun 4th of July cookout, it was like within minutes they were chatting away with him as though they'd known him their entire lives. Scott also had a very endearing way of greeting my mom. These are the precise words he would say to her. "Oh no, not you again." My wife Elena and Scott would always engage in witty banter and make each other laugh. Her parents were also charmed by Scott, despite a language barrier. He was so kind to my father-in-law. They bonded quickly after playing some guitar together, and Scott took him to the Udvar-Hazy Air and Space Museum, one of his favorite places, and he made an effort to communicate with them using Google Translate, which I was really appreciative of. I would say that meeting with one another's families never felt forced in any way. It was just completely natural and something which we both enjoyed doing and always looked forward to and still do. Over the years, I was there for the fun and the tough times in the Dunnihoos' lives. Scott gave us a scare when he had his aortic dissection in 2017. He was just so eerily calm about it and logical about it that I think he put all of us at ease. In the past year, Shabhaya mentioned this, as he was undergoing treatment, his entrepreneurial spirit remained intact.
Shazi, you did a great job, by the way, in the opening. Great job. I just saw this urn for the first time. One of the last things Scott told me, he said, "Dave, Shazi is going to try to put me in a regular urn. You can't let that happen." He said, "I'm thinking something like a sphere, like a Death Star, Dave." Does that surprise anyone, by the way? So that's, sorry about that, Scott. Sorry about that, Scott. So Shazi says, "My name is Dave Golden. I've known Scott for about 30 years. We first worked together at Mobil Oil, then at Clark Construction over that time. During those years, Scott, Wes Miyamoto, Dick Nauer, Jane and I would develop a friendship for life. Scott was always the glue that kept our ragtag team together. Like a fingerprint, each one of us is uniquely and intentionally created by God. Scott was one of the most unique men I have ever met. He treated every person with respect and care. In my 30 years with Scott, I have never heard him talk badly about someone's character or gossip. He approached new relationships not to see what he could get out of someone, but what he could learn from them. Scott was an explorer, always learning, and in many ways, even as he grew older, he approached new things with the curiosity and the fascination of youth. He had a brilliant mind, combined with a lifelong passion to learn and become better. Scott was unique as a fingerprint.
One of the first memories I have with Scott in the 5th grade was we built a geodesic dome together, we could fit the whole class in it. And when we finished it, Mr. Bagley came in, and there was no students in the class. Well, of course, where were we? We were all giggling inside the geodesic dome. Okay. Another memory I have of Scott is his athletic prowess. You know that he got a gold medal in 8th grade in the Junior Olympics for race walking. Okay, and he was also one of the first people in America to play soccer. Okay, I know that's really strange, but in the 70s, we thought soccer was a European thing. That's what Europeans did. And then I remember, as far as I think both Scott and I were very fortunate, and I know this is a celebration of Scott, but I also wanted to celebrate Shazia, who's, I've met her numerous times, and she's one of the most graceful, loving, caring people I've ever met. And I can truly say that their relationship was wonderful together, and they were like wonderful synergy between them. And I'm the same way, fortunately, with my wife.
I'm Corinna. Hello. A lot of us at Lease Accelerator got to meet Scott and start working with him in 2015 when he came to Lease Accelerator. And we're really fortunate that we got to work with him. It was a privilege, really, working with him at Lease Accelerator. He made such an impact on our business, but more importantly, he made a really big impact on the people. You heard it off from everybody. He genuinely really was like the nicest guy. He didn't have anything bad to say about anybody. He could talk about anything. One of my favorite memories is we used to travel together for Lease Accelerator. And we were in Madrid, Spain. And we're wondering, what are we gonna do? And he goes, have you ever been on a Segway? No, I don't know how that's gonna end, right? So he said, let's go on a Segway. So Tamara and Scott and I, you know, he looked on one of his 2 phones, because he always had 2 phones, right? So he looked on his phone and he's like, oh, I found one. So he booked it and we went and we learned. We were all learning together. None of us had been on Segway. We had so much fun that he's like, you want to do it again tomorrow? I looked at Tamara and I said, okay. So we went again in Madrid the next day, had the same tour guide. It was a different same tour guide. Went around, it was only the 3 of us, and the tour guide's like, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And so we told him when we had a private tour, and best time. Well, that started the Lease Accelerator Segway crew. And so this became a tradition. Wherever we traveled, we would do Segway tours. Germany, we did it there in Cologne and in Dusseldorf, and it was so much fun. And I loved, he and Tamara used to race, and I try to get it on video as they're racing on their Segways. You know, you just lean forward and you go, and it was so much fun. And we had such a great time. He loved exploring, so anytime we did travel together, we always tried to go exploring or meet new people or go try a new drink. He could talk to anybody.